She'd say, those people can't hold a candle to the light God already has shining on your face. Can't you see it? She'd say, look up and see the light. When I was on trial in 1998 in Texas for saying something bad about a burger, yes, for 6 weeks I was on trial, sued by the Texas cattlemen. Mama Angelou came to Texas with a prayer posse. And we all know that Maya was a force all by herself, but the force came with backup. They prayed all day and all night long, and Maya would sit in the courtroom while I testified. The prosecuting attorneys didn't know what hit them. Warrior Mom had arrived in Amarillo. And it was at the same time that I met Dr. Phil, who was coaching me on how to behave in the courtroom, and he'd say, look in the jurors' eyes. And Maya said, no, look above their heads. Look above their heads. She said, look above their heads and stand still inside yourself and know who you are. You are God's child, she told me. And in God, you move and breathe and have your being. Of course, we won that trial. And every other one I faced, she was always there holding me up to know myself, to see the light that God already had shining on my face. Yes, I will miss her. Stedman Gale and I recently came to visit and just sit and be with her, and when I walked into the room, her eyes lit up and she greeted me as she always did in person or on the phone, and she said, hello, you darling girl. She'd taken a liking to the iPad I gave her, and I loved that all of her notes began with, oh dearie, and ended with love, Mom, Maya Angelou. When her mother, Vivian Baxter, told her at age 17, you know, baby, you may be one of the greatest women I've ever known. She didn't know that she was prophesying what we all now know to be true. Maya Angelou is the greatest woman I have ever known. In all the ways that only she could define what it means to be, in her words, a real woman, and not just an aging female, but a proud to spell my name W-O-M-A-N kind of woman. She had many daughters throughout the world. Stephanie, Rosa, Matima. Her great gift to us is that she made every one of us feel like we were the one. She made us feel heard and seen and loved and special and worthy. You alone are enough, she taught me. And I am the woman I am today because she was. She not only existed as she proclaimed in her poem, Tall Trees, she thrived to help other people do the same. And indeed, as she said, we can be better and do better because she existed. You know, I marvel at God. I am just in awe that I, a little colored, then Negro girl, growing up in Mississippi, having read I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, and for the first time reading a story about someone who was like me, I marveled that from the first page, what you looking at me for didn't come to stay, only came to say, Happy Easter Day. I was that girl who had done Easter pieces and Christmas pieces. I was that girl who loved to read. I was that girl who was raised by my Southern grandmother. I was that girl who was raped at 9. So when I first met Maya Angelou in the late 70s in Baltimore as a young news reporter and begged her to do an interview with me, and I said, I promise, if you just give me your time, I promise it will only be 5 minutes. And at the end of 4 minutes and 58 seconds, I told the cameraman, done. And Maya Angelou looked at me and said, who are you, girl? First we became friendly and then sister friends, and the first time she told me I was her daughter, I knew I had found home. Sitting at her kitchen table on Valley Road, she was reading Paul Laurence Dunbar, Little Brown Baby with Sparkling Eyes. That was my favorite place to be, at the kitchen table, or sitting at her feet, leaning over her lap, laughing out loud for real. Soaking up all the knowledge, all the things that she had to teach, the grace, the love, all of it. My heart was full. Rarely did we ever have a phone conversation where I wasn't taking notes. She was always teaching. When you learn, teach. When you get, give. I was a devoted student of Maya Angelou's, learning up to our very last conversation the Sunday before she died. It has been difficult for me to try to put into words what it means to lose, as Cicely said, our rock. She was my anchor. So it's hard to describe to you what it means when your anchor shifts. But I realized this morning I really don't have to put it into words. What I have to do is live it. Because that's what she would want. She would want me, you, us, to live her legacy. I remember when I opened my school in South Africa and I said to her, oh Maya, this is going to be my greatest legacy. And she said, not so fast. Your legacy, she said, is every woman who ever watched your show and decided to go back to school. Your legacy is every man who decided to forgive his father. It's every gay person who decided to come out because they saw a show of yours. Your legacy is every person you ever touched. Your legacy is how you lived and what you did and what you said every day. So true, Sister Maya. I want to live your legacy. We want to live your legacy as you touched us all. Each of us who knew her, those only touched by her words or those who were able to be blessed to sit at the kitchen table. We are next in line to be a Maya Angelou to someone else. It's a challenge that I embrace with my whole heart. I cannot fill her shoes, but I can walk in her footsteps to carry and pass on to the next generation what she knew so well, what she tried to teach all of us. We are more alike than we are different. When I see you, I'm really just looking at myself in a different costume. I am human, and therefore nothing human is alien to me, she used to teach. So, we must carry on and pass on, lifting humanity up, helping people to live lives of purpose and dignity, to pass on the poetry of courage and respect. That is what she would want. That is what we will do. And I know I will do it in a way that she most would want. In my last conversation with her, I was telling her about going to film the movie Selma. And she said to me, as she always said when I was doing any kind of job, she said, baby, I want you to do it, and I want you to take it all the way.
Family, I, Guy, and all the family that I love you all, and stand with you. I honor First Lady Michelle, and a thank you, a big thank you to Oprah, who, through her generosity, allowed a lot of us to sit at that kitchen table and create memories that I'll never forget. But also I would like to thank you, President Clinton. It was through your invitation to me and my sister to sing at your inauguration that I first met Dr. Maya Angelou. And we happened to get off the plane together, and I was intimidated and I went the other direction. And I hurried to baggage claim. And when I was standing for the bags, I heard the voice, Cicely. She said, "Another wine." And I turned around and I said, "Hi, Dr. Maya, pleasure to meet you." And she said, "The pleasure to meet you is your driver here." And I said, "No, ma'am." She said, "Well, if the driver's not here when the bags come, then you'll go with me." And I said,